How exciting is that? Molly Ringwald in the red chair. So many classics. Oh, hello. So lovely to be with you on this fine evening. I said Molly's going to be here. Breakfast Club, pretty in pink, 16 candle. That's pretty important. For a certain generation of middle-class white kids, Molly Ringwald was what it was all about. That's what it was all about. May I say, I know that people say spring begins on the first day that the sun crosses the celestial equator heading north. That is also called the vernal equinox. This year, I believe it occurred technically on March the 20th, but in our hearts, we know that the true first day of spring comes when most of the Canadian hockey teams are mathematically eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, happy spring, Canada. Well, it's not all bad news. I brought some tissue for you in case you wanted to cry. True hockey fans know. True hockey fans know. Men of my age, 41 years old, we've had very little to cheer about most of our life. So when we can take the opportunity to go out, we'll go out. My favorite part about when the Montreal Canadiens and or the Toronto Maple Leafs make the playoffs, although one happens more often than the other one, is that it'll be curious to see if people go, oh, well, this will be Canada's team. You'll hear other media go, oh, is this going to be Canada's team? You know who doesn't care about that? Habs fans. We don't care for Canada's team. We just want to win. I know many people are in a state of mourning, and it seems like a good time to pay some respect. So a lot of hard work has gone into this program over the past 10 seasons, and we're obviously changing up the way we do things, and I'll be on Hockey Night in Canada and doing other stuff here on CBC. But you know, this show in this form is going to be going away. So we've always tried to bring you the best, the brightest, the boldest material possible. And a lot of times, stuff just didn't happen. It couldn't make it there because we ran out of time. But through the magical art of manipulating images, you may know it by its Latin name, Photoshopus manipulus laptore. Some of the creations made it in. For example, things like this one. Who could forget the classic When I Was with Michael Bolton? Or, you know, the other one, which is amazing. We have a lot of fun with my hair. I think my album cover record was quite a hit. But because of the constraints of time and the good plain common sense of our executive producer, who said she'll cut her name out of this show if I say it on the air, so Tanya Nachev, good luck beeping that out, Tanya Nachev. Tanya Nachev, Tanya Nachev. It'll be one long beep. And then I'll take to Twitter and tell everybody that you cut your own name out. There she is over there. All right. So tonight, it's our George Stroumboulopoulos and Friends in Memoriam Abandoned Photoshop Edition. All right. I don't know if this is going to come as a shock to you, but that is not the first time I've been referred to as a stallion. All right. Shall we? Too much? What are they going to do? Fire me? Come on. All right. I hope you had a happy day of pink today. That is the International Day to raise awareness about bullying, discrimination, homophobia, and transphobia. So if you went out and bullied someone today, you were doing it wrong. All right, so I hope you took note of this day. It's an important day to end the bullying on all those factors. Now, on to Ottawa, where no bullying ever happens, where another really important issue is finally getting some attention, First Nations education. So the government is expected to table a bill tomorrow that's going to give Indigenous communities new control over education in their own communities and a stable money stream to fund it. The bill has support from the Assembly of First Nations Chief Sean Atleo, though some within the Assembly felt that they maybe could have been consulted a little bit more. Don't blame Sean Atleo. I'm not sure this government likes to consult on anything. It's not what they do. But we're resilient people nonetheless. I have a question for you, Canada, you glorious pastiche of distinct cultures, competing egos, and geographical rivalries. If you had to guess, what would you say Calgary, Toronto, and Vancouver have in common besides gleaming condo towers and eliminated hockey teams, and a small but still noticeable mutual disdain for each other. See those three glorious images that, of course, have appeared on all kinds of postcards? Well, guess what? Those cities, all ranked in the top 3 of a new global survey of most resilient cities. Now, according to research released by the Grosvenor International Property Corporation, those 3 cities get through-the-roof marks for... I said Toronto, but I was supposed to say good governance there. I don't understand. City planning. Do they live in Toronto? This is terrible city planning in the city. Access to resources. We know that the mayor knows where to get stuff. But it says that they're all highly adaptable to changing realities. In short, they're the least vulnerable to crisis. That's probably true. Beat cities like Chicago, Stockholm, Amsterdam, Melbourne. And it makes you proud. Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver in the top 3. Here's what's important to keep in mind. The study is done by a property corporation, so obviously there's an investment angle, but the data is valuable. Of course, this good governance thing is a bit weird. Resilience, though, resilience isn't about quality of life. It's about the ability to rebound and recover from difficulties. Calgary, the flood. Vancouver, low-lying city. Ocean rising, I guess that's up in Toronto. The October 27th mayoral election. Things happen. We bounce back. We get good. You know, though, who is super resilient and not to be outdone? St. John's, Newfoundland. If you've never had a chance to go to St. John's, you must put it on your list. And it topped the list of resilient cities today. Only in this case, St. John's was being honored for its resilience against the zombie apocalypse. If this comes as a surprise to you, may I suggest you go to St. John's when the bars let out. You can see they've had practice. Now, you're sitting there going, when do the bars let out? I know, they do, actually. An Edmonton engineer named Michael Ross, who sort of does this thing, has a blog cleverly titled Extreme NG Nerding. He says that St. John's will survive the undead because of its close proximity to a military base, low population density, i.e. limited food for zombies, high gun ownership. I guess you didn't know they were packing so much heat, did you? Well, they are thereby. Also, the giant place of the rock, okay? You can see the zombies coming from miles away, and I don't know how well they swim. But can you imagine that moment, though? They'd be like this going, are them zombies coming nearby? Gonna take them 3 hours across that goddamn water. Let's go get a pint, right? So, how did Toronto, the center of the universe, right at the bottom, second only to Windsor, the bottom. What literally kills the T-dot, you ask? Population density. With almost 1,000 people per square kilometer, there's just way too much meat. Besides, Newfoundlanders wouldn't call it an apocalypse, they would just call it a well-attended kitchen party. And that's your debrief.